Hello. In this video we're going to cover how to update scoreboard or quick score measures, or KPIs, with Excel spreadsheets and our product Connect. We're going to start by looking at the way that KPIs and measures are structured in scoreboard and quick score. It's important for you to keep this in your mind before you start trying to understand how to use Connect. So we'll take a look at some scorecards. When you look at safety, quality, cost, reliability scorecard, you can see that we're divided into key performance areas. If this were a quick score, we'd be looking at perspectives. All of the measures are arranged vertically, and we can report the data across a number of different months. Similarly, we may be looking at a sales rep's monthly performance. It's the same situation, except that we're looking at no key performance areas, no perspectives, just measures, but they're always arranged vertically. Or we may be looking at a P&L scorecard, in which case all the KPIs and measures are broken down into P&L categories. In every case, what you see is that all the measures are arranged vertically. It's important for you to keep this in mind, because when you go to create a data mapping to an Excel spreadsheet in Connect, you're going to see exactly the same structure choices. You're going to see the organisation tree that you've created in Scoreboard or Quick Score, and then you're going to see your scorecard tree when you select your KPI or measure mappings. When you create a new import mapping, the first step is to create basic information. So this is spreadsheet data upload. You want to choose Excel or CSV. The preferred format is Excel because we read Excel's native format. There are issues with reading text files, and although you can upload a CSV, we prefer to take Excel files. The import type is update metric values, not build a scorecard. What we do then is browse to an Excel spreadsheet, select it, and then automatically upload it. The next choice is source data, and you're going to label what your source data is made of. When you label it, you're going to label the metric ID or name. You're going to tell the application where the date is. In this case, the dates are horizontal, so that's a date header row. When you choose a date header row, you don't have to make any other choices. The application knows that these are your measure names, and that's what you're going to be mapping. You can choose the formats for your dates, which are all in numerical form. And you can also choose the values, where the thousands separator is either a comma or a number. The next step is the one that's important to remember. You recognise the scorecard tree, or the organisation tree. It's the same organisation tree that you've built in Scoreboard or Quick Score. You select which scorecard you're going to map to. This scorecard is going to be structured in exactly the same way as the scorecard in Quick Score or Connect. In this case, we're looking at the East Coast plant. It's exactly the same. You can choose to select individual KPIs or measures to map, or you can click on the name of the scorecard and choose all of them. In the next step, you're going to map each measure name on the spreadsheet to the measure name on the scorecard. If the measure names on the spreadsheet are exactly the same as the measure names on the scorecard, then Connect will automatically create the mapping for you. Now we're going to look at 3 different types of situation for mapping spreadsheets. Let's look at the 3 different formats for your spreadsheet that you can use for uploading data into Scoreboard or Quick Score with Connect. The first format, you have your KPIs or performance measures in a column vertically. You have the date for the value that you intend to upload vertically in a column, and you have the values vertically in a column. This format is a format that allows you to upload your thresholds. You can upload thresholds into the future, thresholds for each period, and while I have labelled these goal and red flag, in fact, Connect only uses the term threshold. And Connect maps those based upon your worst to best performance, going left to right. You need one threshold value for each threshold according to the scoring type that you created when you created the measure. The next kind of spreadsheet is a spreadsheet that, once again, the KPIs or performance measures are in a column vertically, but now you have the dates as a column header. This kind of spreadsheet does not allow you to update thresholds. This form only allows you to update the actual values for each one of your KPIs for each period. And finally, you have the kind of spreadsheet that typically comes out of a financial or production system. This is an example of an export from QuickBooks. You have your P&L categories, the value for the period, and the date is not readable. In this kind of spreadsheet, you can add a threshold column, or columns if you have more than one threshold. In this case, we only have one threshold, which is goal only. So these are the three kinds of spreadsheet that you can use to upload data. Let's take a look at how we map to those spreadsheets in Connect. We'll repeat exactly what we did last time. We'll create a new upload, and this time we're going to do thresholds and values. So we're going to go and get the sales rep production report. We look at the source data, and this one says, use the date specified in the data row. So in this case, I have the data row here. I need to identify the measures. And now I've identified the measures. You'll have noticed that because I had the name value and name threshold, Connect automatically mapped the value and threshold fields to the right column. Once I've mapped it, I verify that my date format is right, my value format is right, and then I can select the scorecard. In this case, we're looking at the sales rep monthly performance. I know that I want every sales rep, so I click the top and I see all of the sales reps. Next, I want to map the spreadsheet performance measure KPI names to the application performance measure KPI names. Because they're exactly the same, Connect has automatically mapped them. And then I can save it. I do have the option at this point to schedule the import. In situations where, for instance, we have some customers who use a secure FTP process to put files on their hosted server, the file has the same format, only the dates and values change. So they schedule it to run once a week or once a month, for instance. In this case, we're not going to schedule it, we're just going to save it. Now we're going to look at another kind of mapping. In this case, it's values with a date row header. This, as you recall, is the production measures spreadsheet. If I'm uploading a new spreadsheet to replace one that's already on the server, I click Overwrite any existing files. Once again, I go look at the source data. In this case, I say use a date header row. It finds the date header row, and it now asks me to identify the KPI or performance measure names. I identify it, then I select the scorecard. It's the same presentation as you see in QuickScore or Scoreboard. Your organisation chart on your left, and your scorecard structure on your right. I select all of the measures, and then I map them. Because they have exactly the same name, they've all been automatically mapped. If they had not have had the same name, I would have had to have dragged them from the left, where the spreadsheet name would be, onto the right to match the scoreboard or quickscore name. I say OK, and then I save. Now finally we're going to take a look at mapping the P&L example. So I open Technology P&L, and you'll notice again Excel upload and update metric values. And then I go to my source data. You'll notice in this case I don't have a date, so I'm going to use a specific date. The date here is going to be the end of July. I'm going to ignore these fields. I'm going to ignore these fields. This has no value, so I'm going to ignore this field. I'm going to ignore that field. And I'm going to ignore this field. Once I've selected all the fields that I'm going to ignore, then I need to map my KPI or performance measures. I give it the metric ID name that tells me what the name is that I'm mapping. Then I tell it where the value is. I could have had a threshold column. So now I need to map it. I select my P&L example. I select all the fields. And once again I need to map it. You'll notice here that the gross profit and production fees don't match anything that's in the scorecard. So we look at the P&L example. The names we're looking at, we do not have those fields. So we need to find those fields and then map them. We can see that we have product sales, and it's the same as product fees from the export. We review our export from QuickBooks, and we see that the total income and gross profit are merely a restatement of the same number. And we can see that the total income is properly mapped, so we're okay. If we're going to export the same fields with the same data every month, we can schedule that. But we wouldn't be able to use it raw, we'd have to add a mapping to a date field, and then we'll save it. Once we've saved these, then all we have to do is run them down. When we run them down, we'll see a dialog that says success. And when it says success, all of the data has been imported. If it has a failure, you click on the last run, and it will tell you what went wrong. So that's it for basic import of data with the 3 forms of spreadsheet, using Excel and Connect to update your KPIs and performance measures in Scoreboard or Quickscore. If you have any questions, please email us at support@introfocus.co.uk. Thanks and have a great day.